Hello, Colfeians. This is the Colfean Connection, the podcast which aims to connect members of Old Colfeians Rugby Club in business. And I'm delighted to have Fraser Stewart here with me today. Fraser, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And welcome to the show. To kick things off, mate, can you just give everyone a little bit of an idea of your Old Colfeians Rugby Club history? You know, which teams you played for, what era, that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. It's a fair while ago now. I joined Old Colfs so I was a schoolboy at Colfs and then joined Old Colfs in, I think, 2007. I think I played for about 5 years. I was part of the Cobras team there and played mostly second row. Can't say I was the best rugby player in the world, but had a great time at the club. And yeah, still mates with a lot of the boys still today.
Fantastic. And that's really what it's about after all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a business podcast. So let's get into that straight away. Tell us about your business. What is it? And what's the problem it solves?
Yeah, no, of course. I think I'll take you back to the start of the business. And I've co-founded Lyfeguard with my dad, Gary. He had, sadly, 2 friends who passed away in 2021. And in both cases, the families turned to him. He's seen as a sensible person to help with the estate settlement. And in both cases, he found it really difficult. He couldn't find any of the information. And the information he did find wasn't that helpful. And that just meant that while he was grieving, he's going through this administration process and actually not getting to the bottom of it. And long story short, in both cases, they took about 18 months to close out. And at which point he turned to me and said, Fraser, if the same happened to me tomorrow, would you know where to find my information? My answer was a big fat no. And that was kind of the genesis behind the business. But Tim, you'll know as well as I do, we live in the UK. We do not speak about death and we don't plan for it. And therefore, a business centered around that wasn't going to fly. So we wanted to still keep that as our core end mission, but actually bring it forward into life, give something that people want to use on a day-to-day basis, somewhere where people can go and organise their life information, access it whenever they need it. But we wanted to make sure it wasn't just a storage facility, like a Dropbox or a Google Drive. It's all about actually connecting in information as well. So we connect into open banking and open finance, which just means we can connect all of the financials that you have automatically. And then we get them in real time and then display that visually back to you so you can really get an understanding of your personal finances, whether that be spending analysis, transactional data, net worth over time, just so you can get a real core understanding, because finance makes up the backbone of all of our lives, really. We give people reminders and upcoming expiry dates. There's so much we've got to remember in our lives, whether it's a passport expiry, driving license, utility bill, anything. We just always forget or leave it, right to the last minute. So we just give people a nudge when there's action to be taken on something. And then finally, via trusted users is the ability for people to share their information onwards. So we give people the ability to share as much or as little information as they want with whomever they want, and a point in time that suits them. And that can be today or actually after they do pass away.
Yeah, interested. It sounds like a very valuable thing. I've got to say, in preparation for this chat today, I suddenly had a little think about all these different things I've got in different places and all the different passwords and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And it felt very, very heavy. What is the process like for onboarding somebody new into Lyfeguard?
Yeah, of course. So people sign up. I think there's different methods you can go about doing it. I think one of the best things that people do is just go and connect their finances straight away, because then you're getting instant value in the platform. You're going in, you're seeing all these visualizations, and actually they're the bits that connect straight away. And actually you don't really have to go back and do much with them because they're just updating again and again in real time. And then with other things, what we say is take a step-by-step process. You don't have to do everything and store it all at once. It's just do it in bite-sized chunks throughout your life. Put things in when you take out accounts or you take out documents or policies, whatever it might be, and just ensure that you're updating your Lyfeguard account just so it can become a record of your life, somewhere where you can go back to and just understand where things are. And I think, Tim, when things are moving across from physical to digital formats, we are losing more and more track of where things are. We've got online accounts. We sign up to things every now and then. And it's like, actually, you never know where things are. So the ability to be able to track what we're doing in our lives is really important. And just get nudges when things need to be actioned and, things need to be, utility bill's a great example. So many people don't recognize when the utility bill, for instance, is coming up for expiry, and then it goes on to out of expiry dates, and then we get charged extortionate fees. There's so many different examples of this through our lives that we don't really realize until it happens to us. And actually just having somewhere to manage life administration can be so handy, but also a lifeline to others when they need access to that information as well.
Yeah, completely. Okay, so just in terms of the typical person that you help, who is that? Like, describe your kind of ideal client to me.
Yeah, no, of course. So we started the business really as a direct to consumer play, so helping individuals and families, and that end user is still kind of the core of the business. But actually, what we're doing now is going via other businesses to give on to their clients. So financial advice is one of the key targets for us at the moment, because that's an industry that just fits very nicely with what we're doing. When we came up with this idea initially back in 2021, we're in this COVID environment, and financial advisors and their clients are used to sitting around a table talking and exchanging information, and the advisors felt a lot closer to their clients at that point. What happened after that is then talking to them via Teams and Zoom, where the conversation is less rich than it is in person, and they were struggling to get hold of the real core information about their clients. And it actually stemmed from Gary, my dad's financial advisor, asking him, why don't I know this information, when he looked at Gary's Lyfeguard account? And Gary's response is, you didn't ask. So there's that piece of it. I think the second bit as well is a lot of the technology that financial advisors are using for clients at the moment focus almost solely on assets and liabilities. Now, clearly, that is hugely important, but actually people are more than how much money's in their bank account. There's all that softer peripheral information that they need to understand about their clients to be able to really, truly offer really great financial advice. And there's been some regulation that's come out called Consumer Duty. And for anyone who doesn't know, that just means really acting in the best way by your client. And one of the key parts of that legislation was, or regulation rather, is to just know your client in far greater detail than ever before. And with Lyfeguard, they can evidence that because they've got so much more information they can access about their client. And I think the other bit as well is it's not just about the client, it's about the client's families, who's important in their lives as well. And what Lifeguard's doing is giving clients the ability to share their information on with family and friends, but also the advisors the recognition of who the beneficiaries, who the family and friends are, and who they may need to get in contact with. Because there's a horrifying statistic at the moment that a lot of wealth is going to transfer over the next 30 years. I think it's 5.5 trillion called the Great Wealth Transfer. Advisors are losing 90% of the beneficiaries after a client dies just because there's no relationship there at the moment. And if you think of the impact that could have on the whole industry, actually they need a solution now, and we believe Lifeguard's providing that. I think other than that, where we really see Lifeguard going is a one-to-many model. So the person in the centre, sharing it with family, friends, their financial advisor, their private client lawyer, all the professionals in their lives can get access to the bits of information that they need. And ideally one day, when you're taking a bank account out or insurance policy, what we want is then to send the documentation directly into their Lifeguard account. So it's one place to manage it, and we don't have to, rifle through filing cabinets or email accounts to try and find this information. It's just there centrally. We know where it is and we know how to manage it.
Yeah, amazing. So in terms of the end of life stuff, is it just as simple as soon as you've assigned that access or that ability for people to see it, then it will just transfer over, and there's almost nothing to be done essentially?
Yeah, so it depends when the information's been shared. So if it's been shared straight away, then clearly they've got access to it. After someone passes away, we just need to go through a very simple verification process. So the fact that someone's passed away in the UK is public knowledge. So we just need to ask some very basic questions around their name, date of birth, date of death, and some other bits and pieces that we can go away and just verify with the council. And actually, we've tested this time and time again, and they come back typically within under an hour, up to 4 or 5 hours. And that was a real worry of ours. We thought they'd take ages to respond, but they don't. So yeah, after we get that verification through, we can release the information, but we don't require anything like a death certificate, which really speeds up the process.
Yeah, and I'm sure during those times, what your dad went through with his friends and stuff, you just want to avoid that in any way that you can, really, right?
100%. I think when someone close to us passes away, the one thing we don't want to have to worry about is the administrative side of what we need to do. We want to focus on grieving, and actually the information gathering process is such a large chunk of what executors have to manage after someone passes away, and actually just giving them access to that straight away just makes the whole process more efficient. But another kind of use case that we're looking at as well is, sadly, the rates of dementia, for instance, are rising in the UK significantly. And actually, for when lasting power of attorney is activated, what we want to do with Lyfeguard is be able to give them the ability to manage their Lyfeguard account on behalf of the person who they're looking after. And I think that's another really nice use case of where Lyfeguard can provide information to someone who needs it to be able to action it on the behalf of someone else.
Yeah. Okay. Fabulous. And of course, we're trying to connect people here. So if somebody's listening to this, who are the type of people that you're looking for that can maybe help you or partner with you? What kind of people?
Well, I think first of all would be any of the kind of businesses that we're looking to work with in terms of getting Lyfeguard out there, because there's huge benefits to them as well. I think financial advisors would be one of them. The legal professions another. We're also looking at the insurance and banking sector as well, because we see that as a really nice fit. I think anything within financial services where there's clients who really require the service, I think that's clearly a nice pairing. I think secondly, we are looking for investment at the moment. So if there's any investors listening, please feel free to reach out if this is something that's aligned with you and you think this is something you'd be interested in as well. And I think everyone needs this in their lives. Seriously, it's something where, it's not the thing that we think we really want to do straight away, and it's something that's like, necessarily really sexy to do, but it's actually so important and can give us all peace of mind, reduce stress, but also just ensure that, we also give our family and anyone else who needs this information peace of mind as well, that, they know where to get the information in the extent, the time they need it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's take a little halftime break here, Fraser, and we'll go back to our Colfeians moments. Can you tell me like your favourite old Colfeian rugby moment from your days?
There's a lot to choose from, to be honest. I think we went on a tour to Dublin, which was fantastic. So it was a sons and dads tour. We played a few games over there. But yeah, no, it was a fantastic time. I think the standout moment, though, was our coaches managed to get us in with Martin Johnson and the England team when we went down to St George's, I believe it was, to go and train with them. Martin Johnson led the session and we got played tag rugby with the rest of the England team, which was clearly a standout moment and something that, remember for a very long time.
Holy moly, that's just giving me goosebumps. That's amazing.
I know.
What a brilliant story that is. Fantastic.
And when I was thinking about it, I actually typed it in on Google the other day. There's this horrific picture of me in the news shopper with my hair literally down to here. I don't know what I was thinking. So if anyone wants to go check that out, just type that into Google and you'll see my horrific haircut. But yeah, no, it was a fantastic experience.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Okay, let's move into the second half, and we're going to look at people you've helped already. So we're looking at any kind of success stories, case studies that you use, and how you're helping change people's lives.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the first person in terms of the post-death process that we helped was actually ourselves. So Gary actually managed my granddad's information on behalf of him with a Lyfeguard account. Sadly, in February, he passed away. And actually, we used Lyfeguard to facilitate all the information being shared across and process that. To kind of test the platform a little bit to see if that verification of the death did actually work, but also to give Gary, who was managing the estate, actually access to the information and kind of compare that to what he'd experienced before. And he found that really valuable in terms of just having that instant access to information straight away. So it was nice we got to test that on my granddad. Well, not nice that we had to test it, but nice that we got to utilize technology to kind of allow us all to focus on grieving, which I think is important. I think secondly, we're working with 11 financial advisors at the moment who've got all their clients on the platform as well. And I think the best bits of feedback we're getting is that the clients are saying this is a tool that's designed for them, where they've experienced other technologies out there that feel a little bit like a hassle or an adjunct to something else that the advisor's using. Actually, they're seeing this as a massive benefit for them as a nature of their service with the financial advisor. And at the same time, the advisor's saying, well, my client's now logging in a lot more, engaging with the platform, and now I'm getting a lot more information through off the back of it as well, which is fantastic. So I think it's really nice to see the different use cases that's being already used. I mean, we're still very early on, but it's nice that we can apply it to a few different areas already. I think the other bit is that we've recently just come through something called the Accenture FinTech Innovation Lab. So it was a highly competitive process. We had to go up to London and pitch in front of basically senior execs of all the financial services firms. And they basically voted on who the best fintechs were for them to be able to take into the program to work with, to potentially, implement within their businesses. And we were one of 11 firms picked for that as well. So we're having some really great conversation with much larger businesses now to how we can implement Lyfeguard within their businesses. And that's a whole different conversation in terms of what we're currently doing with financial advisors. We're talking kind of, tier one banks and insurance firms as well. So that's a really interesting shift change, I guess, this year that we've experienced. And massively exciting that we get to do that as well. So we're seeing some really encouraging signs, not only from kind of our users and the businesses that we work with, but also from the kind of the market in general.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, I'm quite interested in the technology then, and especially how big is your company? Like, how many people are involved at the moment, and what are the ratio of the types of roles you have within the company?
Yeah, we're still a very small team. So it's myself, Gary, and Abby who's in marketing, and we do a lot of offshoring. We've got a development team in Poland. We've got a great group of advisors as well that support us. But yeah, we're small. We are looking. That's one of the key bits for the investment that we want to bring in, is the ability to hire and build the team. Because while a small team's fantastic, actually there's so much to do, and we actually just want to be able to bring people in to specialize certain roles. But yeah, we've got a small team at the moment, but yeah, looking to grow it, and hopefully we can do that before the end of the year.
Wonderful. Sounds like very exciting times. So just summing up, really, just remind people who are the type of people you're looking for, who is this applicable to, who can partner with you, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. So I think if you're an individual, or you want to kind of make your life easier and give you and your family peace of mind, then it's definitely for you. I think the businesses that we work with, financial advisors, estate planners, private client lawyers, and even banking, insurance, we're always open to conversation in that front as well. And then I guess any investors listening, we are looking for investment at the moment. So if this is something that you think is interesting to you, then we can obviously clearly provide you with all the additional information should you be interested.
Wonderful. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, mate. How can people get hold of you to get involved?
Right. So you can visit us at lyfeguard.com, and Lyfeguard is spelled Lyfe. Rather than the classic Lyfeguard. So yeah, lyfeguard.com. Our socials are at Lyfeguard Social, or contact me directly at fraser.stewart@lyfeguard.com.
Wonderful. Okay, as we wrap this up, mate, any sort of kind of final thoughts or any sort of final message that you want to say for people?
Yeah, well, I think it's just great to be back involved with the rugby club. It's been a little time since I've kind of been involved with it, so it's just great to be, back and speaking to the wider community. And I think I've said a lot about how others can help us, I think the offer goes the other way as well. If there's anything that we can do, or we can partner with your business in any way to help yours, then please let us know. We're all ears, and we're always open for a conversation.
Wonderful stuff, mate. Absolutely perfect. Okay. And for people listening at home, I'll link everything that Fraser's mentioned there in the notes down below, including that news shopper article, which I'm going to go and find and dig out. And thank you so much for listening to the Colfeian Connection. As I said, please get in touch with Fraser if you think you can help in any way, or vice versa. If he can help you, it'd be fantastic. And don't forget to tune in next time when the guest will be Mr. Ed Livett.